the people talked about the doors opening. Okay, apertures. There are sometimes we have scenes where we can't see. Okay, there's those couple of scenes where we have these black openings and it's pitch black. Okay, one of them the camera moves forward into it, and you're expecting for the revelation to happen. Okay? He set us up to think we're going to see, and you get closer and closer, and you don't. Right? So we have kind of apertures, right? Camera openings. So we're constantly being reminded of this, of lenses and screens, and they're often doing double duty, right? The window is functioning as that through which we see, but we also see a reflection on it as if it's a screen, right? And if you think about what a screen does, the American philosopher Stanley Cavell talks about this. Think about the way we use the word screen. Right? I can talk about screening a film, meaning I'm going to show you the film, but I can talk about screening something out. Right? The only way the screen works is because it blocks out light. Right? That's how technically it works. It blocks light, so it all gets bounced back to you. Right? The light doesn't penetrate through the screen. Screens block as much as they reveal. And it seems to me in this film, there's just all of these instances where Regatas, the way he uses the camera, hides as much as it reveals. So a lot of significant events, besides the fact that we see them through windows, obscured, sometimes the camera is just so far away, you can barely see what's happening. And you think, well, what's the point? Like, why not show us the event? Why are you not showing us the event? Right? When she dies, we're really far away. Okay, you figure that's kind of important, right? You figure you want to get close, show us her dying face, right? Let us hear her whispering breaths, okay? But we don't. When Marianne shows up at the funeral, I mean, I really felt it, especially today watching it. We hear a car show up, and then Johann gets up to walk away, and then we get this really far shot, and all we basically see are bushes, and you vaguely see two people, and it's like, well, what's happening? Right? Like, why aren't you showing us? Okay? So he's constantly hiding. He never lets you see the event itself. Okay? And this is most dramatic in the resurrection scene. I'll come back to the Ordette in a second. Okay? The Ordette reminds us that this is cinematic. Okay? He's duplicated another famous scene from another famous film. Okay? This is cinematic. It's a quote. Right? It's a quote from a film. Now, the way it happens, we see her body laid into the coffin through windows. That's our only access. The way that sequence begins, it begins from outside. Okay? Then we enter, and we enter in this kind of magical, glowing white space. Okay? Regatas talks in interviews about how long they spent getting the white in this shot just right. Okay? It's glowing. It's like the room is a spirit. Right? And then we get the event. Okay, we talked about that after. This here, okay, so then when Johann goes in to go into the room, we see him walking to the door. Okay, he puts his hand, but we don't see him walking to the door. He kind of goes into the room, we hear his footsteps, you hear a door open, you hear it, you don't see it. Apparently you hear a door creaking open, and this is the shot you get. So you don't see Johann in the room. You kind of get his point of view. Okay? Then the camera cuts outside to this. We're looking into the room through a window. Okay? The only people who've seen the miracle are Marianne, who may or may not exist, okay, and the children, who are not entirely reliable. Okay? The adults in the film, potentially the viewer, what have we seen? Right? Did the miracle take place? I think is a very real question. Okay? So what does it mean? I'll wrap up here. My thesis about the film, and be curious to hear what you guys think about it, is that it's thinking about love, fidelity, and forgiveness as miraculous. Okay, at the narrative level of the film, the level of the plot, it's doing that explicitly, okay, by things people say, by the events that happen. But in the way that the film shows us these events, it filters them through the apparatus of cinema. Okay, it's always reminding us that this is something manufactured by cinema. There are several scenes in the film I didn't talk about which exist only for the viewer of the film, not for the characters in the film. There's that one example, that that scene where they're at the swimming pool, she cries, she walks away, then the screen's all fuzzy, it's all blurry, and then the camera pans in, and then the flower comes into focus, and a drop of water drops off, sort of symbolically like the teardrop on her face. Okay? No character in the film saw that. That was a gift for you. Okay? That's purely a product of a camera being in focus and out of focus. Okay? So the film is constantly showing us that this is cinematic. This is a product of cinema. Okay? And so what I think that means is that the miracle is this worldly. Right? It's within the limitations of film. It's within the limitations of representation. It's a represented miracle. Which doesn't mean that there are no miracles. It just means that miracles have to be understood, at least from the point of view of the film, I think, imminently, right? As things which emerge from what we do, right? From love, forgiveness, faith, and so on. Thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot, Mark, for his very interesting presentation.